This video is brought to you by BetUS Sportsbook and Casino.
What is going on out there, Mountaineer Nation? Welcome in to a live edition of Couz's Corner. Belly yourself up to the bar and let me pour you out this shot of top-shelf college football content. Today, we are talking about West Virginia, and I'm going to give you 5 reasons why West Virginia will beat Penn State on August 31st. And I know what a lot of you are thinking. You're thinking, but Couz, you predicted West Virginia to lose that game. Yes, I did. But don't worry. I'm going to do another part 2 of this. 5 reasons why West Virginia will lose to Penn State. This is basically things that could happen in this game or around this game, or reasons why West Virginia could actually pull this game off, even though they are not expected to win, even by folks like me who are West Virginia fans. And this video is sponsored in part by BetUS Sportsbook and Casino. It's also sponsored by this sponsor right here. Since 1931, the attorneys at Katz, Cantor, Stone Street, and Buckner have been the voice for victims who have suffered serious injury or death. They have a fierce passion for truth and justice and a sincere compassion for those who have been wronged by others. Whether you have been in a car accident or fighting with an insurance company, or you or a loved one has suffered serious injury or death due to medical negligence, we will ensure your voice is heard loud and clear. Katz, Cantor, Stone Street, and Buckner will ensure there is justice for all West Virginians, because we are your lawyer, your voice. Visit us at yourlawyeryourvoice.com. All right. Thank you for hanging in for that 40-second shout out to our channel sponsor here, Katz, Cantor, Stone Street, and Buckner. And by the way, they are also licensed in the state of Virginia. If you happen to live in the state of Virginia and need an attorney, they can help you out there as well. So I wanted to give a thanks to all of you who have hopped in here. But let's go ahead and jump right into the 5 reasons West Virginia will defeat Penn State on August 31st. The number 1 reason: there are new coordinators on every single side of the football for Penn State. There could be an adjustment period here. Yes, Andy Kotelnicki coming over from Kansas. West Virginia fans very familiar with him. Very good offensive coordinator. We unfortunately learned that the hard way. He now has more talent to work with across the board than he's had at probably any stop throughout his career. However, does he have the types of players, not just talent, but the types of players he needs to do what he wants to do offensively? And will there be an adjustment period where these players are used to playing for different coordinators and maybe playing a different style of football? On the defensive side, they bring in Tom Allen, former coach at Indiana, to be defensive coordinator. Same thing. Will these Penn State players, although very talented, will they struggle to adapt to playing for this new coach? And even special teams, they have a new coordinator there as well. So there could be an adjustment period there for Penn State. Number 2, I mentioned the special teams coordinator for Penn State. That dovetails into the second reason on my list. That's special teams. West Virginia has put a really strong focus on improving special teams in 2024. And by doing so, one of the things they've done to do that is they went out and recruited guys who can play special teams and who would be good special teams players to put a more of an emphasis on it. They have also done the same thing with the transfer portal. They're bringing in guys who are bigger bodies. Let me adjust my mic here. Yeah, they're bringing in bigger bodies who may be able to play special teams when called upon. I adjusted my mic because I wanted you guys to see. You see in the background that brand new Coal Rush helmet, mini helmet that my wife picked up for me the other day. I wanted to show that off. So I want to make sure my mic wasn't in the way. But anyway, West Virginia putting a very, very big emphasis on special teams. And I think they've brought in a lot of length. They're going to have length at almost every position now. Block kicks could be a factor. Think back to the TCU game last season. West Virginia was able to seal that game at the end because of what? A blocked kick. So block kick and special teams could be a difference here. And a special teams blunder by Penn State or a special teams play by West Virginia could be the difference in the game. So I think West Virginia has a really good chance to win the game based on their special teams play. The third reason West Virginia beats Penn State on August 31st, I mentioned mistakes. It's very possible Penn State could come out and not be prepared for the game and, mentally prepared. They could make mistakes. They might be overlooking West Virginia, and they could make some mistakes, maybe fumble the ball. maybe throw some picks, maybe make a special teams blunder or two. Maybe they muff a punt. Maybe they have too many penalties. Maybe the West Virginia crowd impacts the game. And yes, I know what Penn State fans are going to say, but we're in the Big Ten. We're used to playing in front of big crowds. I understand that. I get that. But you'd be surprised how loud the 60,000 inside Milan Puskar Stadium can get. They can be just as loud as a stadium with 100,000. So it's possible the crowd could make an impact, cause PSU to be off their game a little bit. And maybe, just maybe, because of that, the ball, when those mistakes happen, maybe some fumbles happen, maybe the ball bounces West Virginia's way for once, right? As West Virginia fans, we're accustomed to the ball not bouncing our way. Well, maybe this time it actually does. The fourth reason West Virginia beats Penn State on August 31st, West Virginia could just flat out outplay Penn State. That is possible, folks. West Virginia has brought a lot of talent in from the portal to replace guys who left and to upgrade the roster in some spots. They've added depth to the roster. They've been able to retain talent better than they had the previous off seasons. So they have guys who now have 2, 3, and 4 years experience, sometimes 5 in the program. Guys who have played together a lot. Guys who have good chemistry, a strong culture, a strong locker room. Now, when you look at talent across the board on paper anyway, Penn State's a more talented football team. I'm not hiding from that. But that doesn't mean that West Virginia, because of the way they've been coached, developed, the work they've put in, their mindset, maybe come out with a ton of energy, doesn't mean they can't outplay Penn State on this one night. And the fifth and final reason West Virginia beats Penn State on August 31st is because West Virginia will be able to stop Penn State's run game. Penn State's, if they have a weakness, it's on that offensive line where they're replacing a ton of talent. And I think West Virginia's defensive line has a chance to outplay Penn State's offensive line and stop that run game. I like what West Virginia has now at the linebacker spot. For those of you who saw my episode 2 of the Golden Blue Breakdown Show with Jonathan Martin, we gave position grades. I gave that linebacker group a really high grade. I'm really high on them. I really like what West Virginia has at linebacker. I think between the linebackers, the defensive front with Sean Martin, Edward Vestorinen, former Penn State Nittany Lions Fatorma Mulba, and others, I really feel like they can shut down or at least limit that Penn State run game, despite the talent they have in the backfield with Katron Allen and Nick Singleton. I think West Virginia can do that. And those are the 5 reasons West Virginia, the five reasons West Virginia defeats Penn State on August 31st. You let me know in the comments section, guys, as we're here live, what you guys think about that list. Let's go ahead and see what some comments are real quick. And by the way, if you want to make sure I see your comment, got a lot of people in here. If you want to make sure I see your comment, you can always drop me a super chat. You hit the $sign below next to the chat box, put your comment in, it'll highlight it. It'll also be an easy way to donate to the channel and what I do here. Also, I have some VIP channel members in the house. I will try my best to read all their comments as well. Timothy Green was the first one out the gate. Let me enlarge my screen here so I can actually read this. He says, I think Neil Brown will turn loose Garrett Green this year. He didn't want to get him hurt last year early in the season, so he didn't let him run the ball much against Penn State. Let's go Mountaineers. Great point, Timothy. But here's the thing. Will Garrett Green have to run the ball as much as he did a year ago? Garrett Green has improved a lot throwing the football. At least that's what we've heard through camp. They might give him a chance to show that off against Penn State. Daniel Gigax, another VIP member in the house. Daniel says, Tim Green did get hurt early in the season last season. Who else we got in the house? We got Justin Smith in the house. We've got Stephen Keel in the house. Cheers Beers Mountaineers in the house. Thanks for helping the algorithm. Another way that you can help the algorithm, guys, hit the thumbs up button. That thumbs up button really, really helps that algorithm. If you're watching live, all you have to do, hit the X button. You can still hear me. Hit the X button and clear out the chat real quick. Go hit the thumbs up button. Then you can pull the chat right back up. It's real quick and easy to do. Daniel, great point, brother. He says he don't care if Green runs for 200 or throws for 500. He just wants West Virginia to win. I think we can all agree on that one. Going ahead and going to mute John Waffle. Put him in timeout. He's going to come in here and run his mouth. All right. Let's see. S. Michael DeHart says, let's go Mountaineers. Let's go Mountaineers. Thank you, Michael DeHart. S. Michael DeHart. What's up, Matthew? What's up, John Christophic in the house? Sky's living in the house. For those of you who might be watching on X, by the way, I thank you also for tuning into the show. Be sure to go over on YouTube, check out my past shows, my past live streams over at my YouTube channel, and make sure you subscribe while you're there and turn those notifications on so you'll be notified of future videos, future uploads. This is probably not going to be a very long stream, folks, because I just want to get on here and go over these 5 things. It's a very quick 5 things, but I hadn't done a live stream in a while. I hadn't had a chance to interact with you fine folks out there in quite a while either, so thought I would do that today. Looks like my internet signal is not great. Can you guys hear me and see me okay? Is there any issues with the connection? Let me know. No, John, I will not be attending the Backyard Brawl this year, unfortunately. Just got too much going on this fall. I do have tickets to 3 of the home games for the Mountaineers. My daughter's going to Marshall now, so we're going to try to make a few Marshall games as well. We also have a lot of concerts scheduled for this fall. My wife and I are big concert goers, so we have a few of those to get to. So, with all that going on, it's just too much to try to get to that game. But so no, unfortunately, I was able to make it 2 years ago, but will not be making it this year, I don't think. Things could change. Things can always change. Last year, I didn't intend to go either, or the last time I didn't intend to go either. And at the last minute, I decided to get a ticket. So it all worked out. Timothy says he agrees with all of my reasons as to why we can beat Penn State. Speaking of the Penn State game, West Virginia is a 10.5-point underdog in that game. And when you look at the BetUS site here, as you can see right here, minus 10.5 is the spread here, despite West Virginia being at home. Over-under on the game is 51.5 points. Now, when you look at that over-under and a 10-point spread, and what is that, 25 to 15? No, what is it, 30 to 20? They have it, something like that. Yeah, that's, man. I don't think, I know Penn State's defense is supposed to be really good. Feel still extremely high on them, but I just don't see them holding West Virginia's offense to 20 points. West Virginia's offense is going to be better this year, at least it should be. So I do not see West Virginia was able to score 15 or 18 on them last year. And this offense should be much improved. So I don't see them holding West Virginia to 20 points, which is what it would have to be to hit that 10-point spread and the over-under 51.5. So, yeah, they have it at like 31-20, something like that, but I don't see that happening. If I haven't placed my bet yet, but I'm going to probably hit the over on this. And I'm also planning to take West Virginia in the points here because I think West Virginia, even if they lose, I think it'll be within a touchdown, which I did predict them to lose, by the way, but I don't think it'll be 10 points or more. But I could be wrong. That's why they call it gambling, right? But I just want to show you guys kind of what the BetUS site looks like and where you can place your bet at on the site if you decide to do so. If you do it, please gamble responsibly. You must be 18 years of age or older as well. So be sure to do it. Keep that in mind when doing so. All right, we've got a few more people joining the show here. S. Michael DeHart, 14 days to kick off. Pet SU better wear their big boy pants. They may be trekking back to a not-so-happy valley. Cheers Beers Mountaineer says he disagrees on the over. I think Neil's plan will be to hold the ball as much as possible to limit PSU's possessions. That's a great point, Cheers Beers and Mountaineers. Here's the problem with that, though. Penn State, their defense, their run defense is probably going to be really, really good. Yet West Virginia did gain more rushing yards on Penn State last year than any of their other opponents. So I do think West Virginia will have some success running the ball, but I'm not sure they'll have enough success running it to where they can just, play ball control. I think they're going to have to air the ball out more than they probably want to in this game, and I think they can. But at the same token, can West Virginia's defense hold Penn State's offense in check to the tune of less than 30 points as well. Now, I think they can. We'll see. We'll see when the time comes. But that's a great point, Cheers Beers Mountaineers, and you may have me rethinking my strategy here. I may have to rethink that. I'll give it some more time. He says he's taking the under. Justin says time of possession, so he's kind of right in that same, realms, so to speak, as Cheers Bills and Mountaineers. He thinks it might be a time of possession game. And look, that's a fair point. Like I said, it may rethink my strategy. And yeah, Vegas always wins. Pokemon says he believes Bradley goes off. Yeah, I got really high hopes, and that's, I'm going to save that for some of my – Jonathan and I are going to be doing a Penn State preview show here in the next few days or weeks. On the Golden Blue Breakdown, episode 4, probably, or maybe 5, depending on when we get to it. But I don't want to give away too much here, but I do think that's going to could potentially be a factor in the game for sure. Yeah, Daniel, he sure did. He did a touchdown to cover the spread in the end. And I'm sure Neil Brown hasn't forgotten about that. I'm sure he hadn't forgot about it. So if West Virginia, I don't think West Virginia will be able to do this, but if West Virginia happens to be winning at the end and has a chance to do the same, wouldn't be surprised if they do it, to be honest with you. Steve Keel says James Franklin at PSU against Illini is a double-digit leader, 90%. Yes. And another little nugget of information I picked up doing research, 7 games in a row that Penn State has been an away favorite, they've covered the spread. 7 in a row. So keep that in mind. They do cover the spread most of the time. But at some point, streaks have to come to an end, right? No better time to do it than August 31st. Penn State isn't good against the run. WVU might use Michigan strategy and run a lot more than usual. Very possible. Very possible. I'm not sure. I'm not sure they're going to be bad against the run necessarily, but they may not be as good against the run as they are the pass. Their secondary is on the. I mean, it's. I don't want. I hate to throw the word elite around. I don't want to say elite, but their secondary is really, really good. Phil Steele has them. Matter of fact, I got it right here. He has them as one of the best in the country. Has them as the number 9 best secondary in the country. He has their D-line as the number 2 best in the country, and their linebackers as the number 6 best in the country. So that is how stout this Penn State defense is expected to be by Phil Steele. He actually thinks they have a chance to go undefeated and win the Big Ten. That's how high Phil Steele is on Penn State. And Phil Steele's pretty darn accurate. He's arguably the most accurate out there when it comes to predicting college football games and players and all that. But as Michael DeHart says, with the triple threat in our backfield, we should be confident in our ground game. Absolutely. Like I said, West Virginia averaged 3.7 yards a carry on Penn State last year, which was the best, like I said, was the best by any Penn State opponent the entire season. So, it's very, very doable. West Virginia's not going to, they're probably not going to get 5-6 yards a carry, but if they can chunk out 3.5 to 4 carry, just enough to keep the chains moving, keep the clock churning, throw the ball deep here and there, and Garrett could be more efficient on the intermediate throws than he was a year ago. I really like this offense's chances. I really do. I think West Virginia's offense is very, even though people are more high on the offense than the defense, I still think it's underrated. I think it'll be even more explosive than people think. Now, there is an injury concern. I was reading this morning. Apparently, Traylon Ray's banged up right now. They don't know how long he'll be out. I don't expect him to miss the game, but he could miss some practice reps. But, they brought in Jaden Bray from Oklahoma State. He's had an awesome fall camp. Rodney Gallagher appears to be playing better. Hudson Clement, Preston Fox are both playing solid football. So even if Traylon Ray isn't able to be 100%, I still like this receiving core, even though Here's the thing, though. Can they get separation on that stout Penn State secondary? That's going to be the big key here. Wild Ute in the house. Thank you, Wild Ute. He's a friend of the show. Go check him out over at College Football Mafia Network with Nathan Bomber Brown, with Moen, with Rock and Rant, Sergeant Pickles, Becky Go Huskies. A lot of contributors over there. He's also a friend of the show and has been on the show multiple times. So thanks for Wild Ute for checking in. And he's right. Hit the like button even if you're not a Mountaineer, hit it anyway. Timothy says he's really looking forward to the beginning of college football season. Buddy, I am too. This is going to be the longest 2 weeks ever. Luckily, we've not had any serious injuries. Hope we keep it that way, especially Donaldson. Yeah. Defensively, apparently, Anthony Wilson has been banged up as well. Not sure how serious that is either. And he was having a really good camp too before that happened. So it'll be interesting to see, if he's available for the game, and if so, is he going to be 100%? But the silver lining to that, it's allowed some of these other guys to get more practice reps. Guys like, Kiki Tarnu, they do expect him to play corner, but they can move him over to safety. People like Jaheim Joseph, Josiah Jackson, some of those guys have been able to get more reps. And for people like Joseph, who, it's their first year in the defense, those reps are very valuable. Speaking of Jaheim Joseph, shameless plug here, Jonathan and I were able to do an interview with Jaheim's former teammate at Northwestern and also current Mountaineer Garnett Hollis Jr., the cornerback who's come in to replace Beanie Bishop. I recommend you go check out that interview. It was very in-depth. We were with him for almost 45 minutes, answered some really cool questions. You get to know him a little bit. He's an awesome, awesome young man, very intelligent, very high IQ. You can tell he loves the game of football, and he's extremely, extremely high on this team and thinks they can go very far. And has played against Penn State twice and is not afraid of them one bit. So I really like his attitude and where his head's at going into the game. Thank you, Justin Smith. You're the man, brother. He says, I smashed that like button and I shared it out. Couz, you're the man and true Mountaineer fan. I appreciate enjoy your content. Justin, thank you. Thank you, my man. Matthew says he's just ready to watch college football in general again. Thankfully, it starts up in a week from today. Patience is a virtue, Couz, but I've never thought of you as virtuous. Yeah, you got that right. David Friedline says the sun doesn't shine on the same dog's ass every day, period. Confidence is a big thing, and we aren't afraid of them. They aren't going to win every time out. We are due to beat them. And I don't think your comment finished there, David. Yeah, John, they definitely should be a top 25 team if they're able to pull off the victory, no doubt. Tight end over the middle, John Ware, great point. You remember last year they had two really good tight ends. They lost one of those guys. But the other one's back, and I think look, Penn State's a deep team. I'm sure they're able to just plug in another really talented guy right behind him, the one that left. David finished his thought. He says he went to a game back in 77. It was 44-0 at halftime. This isn't going to be that kind of day. We can beat them. Sky's Limit says, I love college football and knowing the hunting season is right behind it. At least if we lose, I can take my anger out on some good food. LOL. Yeah. I'm not a hunter, unfortunately, so I don't have that option, but I do know what you mean. I know people who hunt really love it, really passionate about it. And hey, I do love some good venison, man. So I'm definitely not against it for sure. Just never was my thing. Steven says, here's two freshmen that will play to watch out for, Quentin Martin and Ty Sear, Denmark. Steven, thank you for that. I'm hoping to try to get someone from Penn State Media on the show. I was actually planning to reach out to one of them today to try to get them on the show and kind of preview the game a little bit and find it a little bit more out from the Penn State side of things. Hoping to do that very soon. But thank you for that insight. Quentin Martin and Ty Sear, Denmark. I have to remember that. Justin thinks this is a year West Virginia makes some big moves. Man, I hope you're right. I really hope you're right. Again, for those of you who might just be joining the show, I went over the 5 reasons West Virginia will beat Penn State on August 31st. And real quick again, they are the new coordinators at Penn State at every side of the ball, offense, defense, special teams. Penn State has new coordinators. Yes, they're talented coordinators. They're experienced coordinators. But will there be an adjustment period on adjusting to the way these guys call games and the schemes that they use? Very possible. It could take them a few games to adjust. Hopefully West Virginia's catching them at the right time. Second reason, special teams. Whether it's West Virginia making a big play like they did last year against TCU, or whether it's a special teams blunder by Penn State that could help West Virginia out. Speaking of blunders, PCU could make some mistakes. They could come in the game overlooking West Virginia. West Virginia could force some turnovers. The Mountaineer crowd could potentially impact the game some. Yes, I know Penn State's used to playing in big crowds, but that 60,000 in mile and push car can be just as loud as some 100,000 seat stadiums. And I think they will be on this day because it's sold out. It's going to be absolutely crunked in there. It's going to be loud. So it's very possible the crowd could impact and force some mistakes. And, hey, maybe just this one time for us Mountaineer fans, the college football gods smile on us and the ball bounces our way. That's very possible too. Fourth reason, West Virginia could just flat out play Penn State. Yes, when you look on paper, Penn State's more talented at most positions. Not every position, but most positions. But maybe on this day, West Virginia comes out with the right mindset, a high amount of energy. They're ready to go. They're more prepared. Their players are developed. They know the game plan. They know the playbook. They studied enough film. Maybe they just come out and flat out outplay Penn State on this given day. And then the last reason that I gave was West Virginia, I think, can stop or at least limit Penn State's running game. Yes, I know Penn State has those two great backs, but I think West Virginia's D-line has the potential to outplay Penn State's O-line. Penn State lost some big talent off that offensive line from last year. They have less experience coming back. I think that's an area West Virginia can exploit potentially. There's not a lot of weaknesses on this Penn State team, but that's one area West Virginia might be able to exploit. Maybe not completely shut down, but at least limit that Penn State run game, make Penn State one-dimensional, and that's where West Virginia has a shot to win. So that's my 5 reasons why West Virginia beats Penn State. I will have a part 2 of 5 reasons why West Virginia loses to Penn State. I'm not sure if I'll do that one live or not. Probably not really a long enough video to do live, but it's Saturday. To be quite frank with you, I didn't feel like editing a video. And I hadn't done a live for a while, so I want to give a chance for you guys to interact with one another and with myself. See what other comments are in here. S. Michael DeHart says, I was at the 84 finale game and the 84 last Flutie game, never beating WVU. I feel like this game will be like those, rocking and rolling Pushkar Stadium. Man, I hope you're right. I really do. Eric Flowers in the house. He says he's going to parlay WVU plus 10.5. Hey, if you do it, please check out the link in the description box or the link in the pinned comment below once this is over with. And I forgot to mention earlier, Penn State has Penn State. BetUS has a 125% bonus on your first 3 deposits up to $2,000. So take advantage of that. And if you use that link, it'll really help me out. He says, go big or go home. And be sure to play responsibly. Don't gamble and spend more money than you can afford. David Cummings says, besides Michigan and OSU, who does Penn State play in conference? The Big Ten is fairly weak, so we have a damn good shot at beating them. I'll tell you right now, here's their schedule. They play Illinois at home, UCLA at home. They're at USC. They're at Wisconsin. They play Ohio State at home. They actually don't play Michigan this year, but they do get Ohio State at home. They get Washington at home. I'll tell you what, the schedule lines up pretty nice for Penn State. If they can get by Ohio State at home, they have a really, really, really strong chance of winning the conference. Heck, they could even win the conference if they lose to Ohio State at home. Make it to the conference title game. Wisconsin at Wisconsin is going to be tough. We know that's a tough place to play. At Purdue, at Minnesota, should be wins there. They get Maryland at home to end the season. At USC, it's a long road trip. We'll see how they handle that. Could be a tough one. I'm telling you, Penn State's schedule, not too difficult from Penn as far as Big Ten standards go. They don't get Michigan State. They don't get Michigan. They don't play Oregon. Man, if there's a year for Penn State to win the Big Ten, it's this one right here. I'm sure Ohio State's saying the same thing. I'm predicting right now. Well, I don't know. I don't want to make that prediction because I haven't really studied Oregon yet. It's either going to be Penn State or Oregon in the championship game against Ohio State. That's what I'm predicting. I'm not going out on a limb by saying that. I think that's pretty much what everybody's predicting. But I do think Penn State has a chance to be a hell of a team. But don't overlook the fact they have all these new coordinators. That could cause some trip ups. Maybe it won't. I know Andy Kotelnicki's awesome. I mentioned that earlier. But there's a learning curve when it comes to learning a new offense, a new offensive scheme, new offensive terminology. There is a learning curve there. I don't know that that's being talked about enough. All right. David Cummings is also a VIP channel member, as you see the badge beside his name. Timothy Green says, I know we have a tough schedule, but I think we really have a chance to win the Big 12 this year. Amen, Timothy. I do too. But, man, the schedule's tough. Really, really tough. Eric Flowers says he's a pipeliner and just got laid off, but he still has more money than he has good sense. Eric, thank you, man. That was funny. But anyway. Yeah, I know Michigan State's not great right now, WVU fan 23, but I was just pointing out that they were not on West Virginia's schedule. They actually were good a couple years ago. I think they had a 9 or 10 win season in Mel Tucker's last year before he moved on. Timothy Green says, he was involved in that scandal, actually, is what happened. But anyway, Timothy Green says, I think Iowa. Yes, I said Iowa and Ohio State will play for the Big Ten. Yep. You know what? I completely forgot about Iowa. If they can get their offense fixed, and they're trying to do that with a new coordinator, man, I completely forgot about them, Timothy. Thanks for the reminder. 4 top 25 conference games and 1 top 25 out of conference game, hardest in the Big 12. I think it's hard to argue against that, Michael, to be honest. R. Groff says, I just got here. West Virginia isn't beating Penn State. Didn't say they were. So I know you're just getting here. I'm actually going to do a second part of this series called 5 Reasons Why West Virginia Loses to Penn State. I thought it'd be fun to just look at both sides of the coin. But it's basically 5 things that I think all or at least some of these need to happen for West Virginia to have a shot. And I'm going to go over them real quickly again. Maybe it takes Penn State a few games to adjust to the new coordinators on all 3 sides of the ball. Maybe there's a special teams play that West Virginia makes that can be a difference maker, or maybe there's a special teams blunder by Penn State that makes a difference. Maybe Penn State just doesn't have a good night. Maybe they turn the ball over a few times. Maybe the West Virginia crowd gets to them. It is louder in Milan Puskar Stadium than you might think. Just because it only holds 60,000, don't underestimate it. Maybe the ball just bounces West Virginia's way for once. Maybe that's possible. Maybe West Virginia just flat out outplays Penn State on this given night. Maybe Penn State's mind is not in the game. Maybe West Virginia's focused. Maybe they come out with a lot of energy. Maybe they're just ready. Maybe they're just ready to go. And maybe, and I didn't even mention this, but it's kind of part of it, maybe Neil Brown outcoaches James Franklin. I don't think that's out of the equation either. And then last but not least, I think West Virginia has a chance to limit Penn State's run game because I think if there's a weakness on Penn State, I think it's their offensive line, at least a couple spots on the offensive line. And I think West Virginia's defensive line and strong linebacker core, which I'm really high on, has a chance to limit Penn State's run game. And I think those are 5 reasons that West Virginia beats Penn State. Eric, no problem, man. I totally understand. R. Grawl, thank you, man. We appreciate that. He said he hopes West Virginia wins the conference. Ryan Scott watching over on X. Thank you, Ryan, for tuning in. He says, have a shot at beating them, but it will have to be a close game. It will, Ryan, and let's face it, man. West Virginia's going to have some things go their way. This Penn State team is just absolutely loaded with talent. Multiple guys who will be NFL draft picks just like a year ago. But don't underestimate the talent on this West Virginia team either. They're going to be better than last year. So I don't think West Virginia's. I don't know that the talent differential is going to be as much as people think. It just looks that way on paper. Mark Starcher says WVU is dominating Penn State. I'm not going to go that far, Mark. No problem, Michael. Appreciate it. I'm actually going to be jumping off here myself here pretty quickly, man. This is going to be a short one today. Going to be a short one today. I really appreciate everybody coming on here. I know it's only a 35-minute deal here, but again, just wanted to come on here, do a quick live stream. Hadn't done one in a while. I'll give you guys a chance to. Big Dan T's in the house. He says, another VIP member, he says the games that PSU lost last year, they could not stop the run. What does WVU do very well? Run the ball. Agreed. And I think West Virginia might be able to do that, potentially. Shout out again to BetUS Sportsbook and Casino. Please play responsibly. And don't forget to take advantage of the 125% bonus on up to 3 bets, on your first 3 bets, up to $2,000. Thank you again.